Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Brainwashed to be Broke, the show where we expose all the beliefs, all the lies, everything what we've been taught since our young age and what is truly possible. Today, we are here with Cameron, another guest. He is a speaker, sales coach, guitarist, and musician based in Marietta, Georgia, known for teaching the psychology of influence and helping closers shift buyer's identity before the pitch. So I'm super pumped to have him here. We're gonna have lots of fun. We're probably gonna dive into topics like sales and so on, like how people actually think about sales and what they do not understand about sales. And like, let's see where this conversation goes. But before we jump into the first question, and most of the interview starts like this type of weird way when it comes to like, what are you do, like what is your thing, like what, and it's going straight up into like, your business stuff and so on. For those who don't know you, who like, what is your claim to fame, like
Oh,
this type of thing?
I think fame would be a like an overstatement. But I think for me, my thing, if you want to call it that, is I just help people wake up. And what I
Mhm.
mean by that is I help people take off the glasses that they've been wearing their whole lives that they perceive their reality through. And if you if all you have is a set of glasses that are blue, then everything is going to look blue, but that doesn't mean that the things you're looking at are actually blue. That's just how you're perceiving them. So what I do is I help people remove the lenses so they can see things for how they really are, which has a profound impact on things like sales and influence and other areas as well, relationships and everywhere.
Interesting. Okay. Well, we will dive into those topics. I'm
Sure.
really curious about like how did you even like came up with like with this conclusion, like having lenses and like why, like where this came from. But let's start these conversations from a little bit different direction. And I would love to ask you, like with the all success that you have accomplished, what is actually the truth driving source for you when it comes to like being able to accomplish all of those all of those goals and all the success? Is it like are you do you believe in God? Is it like going for freedom, or is it like that you have never been like in that type of, you didn't like the environment, basically like being employed, and like this is like for you the escape way of, what I mean?
Yeah, that's a really good question, man. So I can tell you what it was, and then I can tell you what it is now. So what it was originally is I just want to accumulate a bunch of material things because if I have these things, if I have a bunch of guitars and I have a bunch of nice watches and if I have a bunch of really fancy shit, then I will feel like I'm enough. That was the original thing that was driving me. And I feel like for people watching this, that is 99% of everyone in the sales space wants the car and the watch and the money and the status and all that stuff's great, but it's not the answer. And so for me, I've bought watches, I've bought cars, I've bought all the nice stuff. When I found out that nothing actually changed, nothing fundamental about who I am changed with all of those things, just a bunch of liability and a bunch of debt. When I finally got a hold of those things, I realized that it's not material things that cause happiness. It is inner happiness that causes you to attract things into your life and not the other way around. And so now my operating system is no longer, well, if I get these material things, then I'll be happy. My operating system is if I can cultivate a feeling of peace and inner freedom, just those two things, if I can just feel at peace with myself, if I can embody freedom as a state, not as a thing, but as a state, if I can embody those two things, then the things that I draw into my life are going to be things that match those things. So it's not I have this thing so that I can be free. It is I feel the state of freedom so that I can have the things that I want and live the lifestyle of freedom and live a lifestyle of peace. And so for me right now, the only two things driving me are freedom and peace. And anything that is not those two things, I just let it go. I have no space in my reality for anything that's not those two things. So it's kind of a long answer to a simple question,
No,
but
no, no. Although this is pretty cool. Like, I'm really curious, like, what freedom actually means to you, because like there is different type of freedoms, right? So for you specifically, what freedom, what kind of freedom are you looking for when it comes to your life?
full autonomy of decisions, full autonomy of location, so
Mm,
spatial freedom. I can move around and do the things I want to do physically in space. I can make the decisions that I want to make without having to second guess them or like overthink them because of money or other external circumstances. Um, and then freedom of mind, I think, is the most important one, because if you
mm.
can have freedom of space, freedom of body, freedom of time, freedom of all that stuff, but if you don't have freedom of mind, um, then none of those things matter. And you may not even realize that you have other freedoms if you're not free here first. So freedom of mind, and then that feeds into all of the other subcategories of freedom. So if I start my day and end my day with an empty and clear mind, then that sets me up for a whole day of freedom. And if I can
Mhm.
repeat that process every single day, then for me, that's Cameron's definition of freedom.
Why does it matter to you?
It matters to me because I've also lived the opposite lifestyle, and I've
Mm,
decided for myself that this is not what I want. And it matters to me because I think every human should live a free life, and free in their own sense of the word and in their own definition. Nobody should ever feel like they're in a cage. Nobody should ever feel like they are at the mercy of external circumstances. And everybody should realize, I think everybody should realize that the greatest gift that every human has is the gift to create their own reality. And to me, that's the ultimate freedom. And in order to experience that which you are, you first have to experience that which you are not. And that which I am not is not free, and feeling like a slave and feeling like I'm in a box. And so because
it's pretty difficult, right, to like set this up right from the beginning, basically, if you don't pretty know what is going on and nobody actually tells you what is going on, and everything is pretty much set it up against you,
oh
which is
yeah.
pretty wild, right? And then like you are ended up in this type of environment with bunch of debt, because like specifically, especially like when it comes to the schooling system, this is really like this is pretty ridiculous. Like when it comes to like being that you can study, and most of the time it's study that you don't like, things that you don't even need, and like you studying for, and to be able to study you have to pay. It's free. That insanity to me
Yeah, you have to
completely.
pay you have to pay for something that you're never going to use, like the
Yeah.
quadratic equation. I never
Yeah.
used that once in my life, and I don't know anybody who does unless there's some like rocket engineer or something like
Yeah.
that. But it's crazy, man. It's like and you're right, it's most people are not even aware of it because we've never been taught any better. It's kind of like how would you convince a fish what water is, right?
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Like a fish doesn't know what water is because that's all there is. And so it's not aware of anything else. There's no contrast. And so
Yeah.
for a lot of people there is no contrast. That has been from the minute they're born, that has been their reality. And so
Yeah.
how do you know you're wearing glasses if from the second you're born you have those glasses on? You don't even know that there's this
You
whole
know.
reality outside those glasses if nobody ever told you what glasses are.
Yeah, yeah, I love it. I love that you comparing a lot to the lenses or glasses basically, because like it's really interesting. And like when I've been diving into sales and so on, it's lots of people using this type of like, lenses, and because like you are using different lenses for different frames and so on, which is pretty cool. Anyway, we can dive into those type of topics too. But um for you, when that moment actually happened, that you've been like, holy shit, this whole thing is freaking like it's completely against me, against us, and like what was the moment for you to realize this, and like what actually came up next? Like, what you've been like, have you jumped straight up into sales stuff, or like, or have you been testing businesses, or what was the journey look like for you?
Yeah. So for me, it was kind of both. There was one specific moment where I realized that this is not for me. But then before I had that moment, I had these little gut feelings and these little signs that I felt them and I saw them, but I didn't necessarily pay attention to them.
Hmm.
And so for me, I was about 28 years old. I was working in a restaurant. I had been working in restaurants for about 10 years. I was like a waiter and a bartender in a bunch of different restaurants. And I
Been
remember,
there.
yeah, it's not fun, man. It's not
I
fun.
know. It's
Uh,
yeah.
It's
It
some of
yeah.
my best and worst memories are from restaurants, dude.
Yeah. Totally.
But I remember this one shift in particular. I was working a Saturday night. It was a busy Saturday night in the middle of. It was in this bar in Atlanta, Georgia, real busy. And this was November of 2020. So this is kind of during COVID, but this is the point of COVID where a bunch of places started opening up again. And so people got sick of staying in lockdown, and so like
Yeah.
that's when everything got real busy. And
Yeah.
so I was working at this bar in Atlanta. It was really busy. It was just we were understaffed. It was just me behind the bar. I had a full bar and then I had a bunch of tables. I was slammed. And I remember not feeling happy. And I remember just thinking, if I can just make it to the end of the night, I will be happy. I don't care how much money I make, if I can just survive. And then I thought, well, that's no way to live. That's no way for anybody to live. So I did what every server and every bartender does in the middle of a shift when they're questioning their existence. I just went to the bathroom and I just started doom scrolling. I'm like, I just need 5 minutes of peace. Let me just lock myself in the bathroom. It was like my 10th bathroom break in like an hour. So I'm just going to start doom scrolling just to give my brain a break. And so as I was doom scrolling on Facebook, I came across a Facebook post from a friend of mine. And this friend of mine made a post that said something like hiring remote triage setter, work from home, make your own hours, work when you want. You can work anywhere you want. All you need is a laptop and an internet connection, and you can make $600 to $800 a week. That's all it. I had no idea what triage setter meant. I'd never heard of that before. I'd never heard of online space. I'd never heard of work from home, remote. I didn't know that that was a thing that you could do. And I'm like, this sounds a lot more interesting than what I'm doing right now. So I did something kind of stupid. And for those of you watching, I don't recommend you follow this advice because this is not this is hypothetical. What I did was I saw this post. Before I even responded to it, I walked out of the bathroom, I walked through the kitchen, and I walked out of the back door from the kitchen, and I took my apron off, I threw it in the trash, and I made a promise to myself that I will never go back in there. I will never set foot in a restaurant ever again. I didn't even know if, like, I didn't even respond to the thing. I didn't even know if I was going to get this opportunity. I didn't even know what this opportunity was, but something in me just told me this is not the life that you were meant to live. Take a leap of faith, just do it. And so I did it. I quit mid shift, full bar, no other bartender. I just kind of fucked everyone over that was sitting at the bar. I left the restaurant, and sure enough, I responded to the post. The guy responded back. We had an interview. I got hired. Within the first week, I had no idea what I was doing. The guy was just like, here's a script. All you have to do is just read the script and you'll make money. And I'm like, cool. That was my sales training. Just read the script. And so the first week, no idea what I was doing. I ended up making $1,000 that first week. And that was working like half of the hours that I would work at a restaurant to make that same money. And so as soon as I got that first commission check, I immediately thought to myself, okay, there is something here. I don't know how far this goes. I don't know what this is, but there's clearly something here. and I clearly have the ability to do it. So why not just go down the rabbit hole and see how deep this goes? That was in 2020, about almost 6 years ago. And so that was just domino number one that led to where I am now. And so that, to answer your question, that was kind of the moment where I realized that I don't want to do this anymore. And the conditions just so happened to be favorable for me to take that opportunity and take a leap of faith.
Yeah, bro. Like I know how it is to be in a freaking restaurant, working in restaurants. But when we moved to England, I've been literally doing very, very similar thing. Um, because I didn't know any better, right? I've been like still looking for jobs instead of
Yeah.
like starting something new. But then I see like, holy smoke, we've been working like 18 hours freaking day. Feels
Yeah.
like we've been even living there because this is new country, no home, right? Like freaking staff accommodation. Holy
Yeah.
shit, that was crazy, crazy, crazy. And the conditions. That was the moment. Like, wake up, wake up. Like this is no. We're not gonna be living this way. But I
100%.
lived there for 7 years. Yeah,
Wow.
7 years. I
Right.
basically, but the thing was that I took the money and invested in myself.
Mm.
Everything, every penny that I got there. It was maybe stupid because like if I would do it again, I would do it completely like a little bit differently. I would be investing into real estate. But
Sure.
either way,
Yeah.
um yeah, so I know how that feels. Anyway, so when it comes to this is pretty interesting. So you went straight up without even thinking. Like, Dan, I'm going towards sales. Don't even know what is it. But first week making $1,000. Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I like lots of people would love that.
Oh, yeah. And that's the
Yeah.
thing for me. It's just, this is the power of perspective. For me, at that time, that was a lot of money. Holy
Yeah.
shit. a
Yeah.
thousand bucks in 1 week. That's a lot of money. Then eventually, not even a year later, I'm making that per day. Like on a good day, $1,000 commission day, working 4 or 5 hours. That's another good day. And then I got on this offer where I'm selling a $10,000 package. Commission is 10%. In 1 hour, I'm making $1,000. So in 1 hour, I'm making as much as I would have made in 60 hours of being on my feet and dealing with assholes all day. I made that in 1 hour. So then I had this other paradigm shift where I was like, it is a lot easier to make a large amount of money in a short period of time
Mm.
than it is to make small amounts of money over a long period of time. It is so much easier if you have the right skill set.
What would you say, like, when it comes to business, or not even business, because, like, to make money, what are the most important skills, in your opinion, to have to actually make money?
You can make money with just about any skill set. So I honestly don't think it's a skill thing.
Okay.
This sounds really controversial. I don't think it's
Okay.
one particular skill. If you want to boil it down to skills, I think being good with people
Mm-hmm.
is a universal skill that will help you make money amongst other things. So
Yep.
money comes easy when you are very good with people. Being in the restaurant industry forces you to get good at being good with people. So that
Yeah.
was something that I had built in going into sales that worked to my
Yeah.
advantage. Um, I think aside from skills, I think it's just an alignment thing. Because if
Mm.
I if I like I can want to make a bunch of money all day long. Like I can want a bunch of money, but if I'm aligned with scarcity and lack and fear and worry and anxiety, then I'm only going to get what I'm aligned with. Even if I
Mm-hmm.
do make money, it's like, you read about those people who win the lottery. They win $10 million and then 3, 4 years goes by and they're worse off than before they won the lottery. And so they didn't do anything to win the lottery. They won the lottery, but because they're aligned with lack and they're aligned with scarcity, they win
Mm-hmm.
the lottery and they will always figure out a way to go back down to scarcity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so I
Yeah.
think it's like to make money, it's kind of like a thermostat. So like a thermostat, like if I set the thermostat at 72 in
Yeah.
my house will go up. Let's say my house goes up to like 80. The
Mm-hmm.
thermostat will kick in and bring it right back down to 72. Or if the house temperature goes to like 60, the
Mhm.
thermostat kicks in and brings it back up. So like you will only bring into your life where your internal thermostat is set to. So if
Yeah.
my thermostat is set to scarcity, I may make a lot of money, but the thermostat is going to kick in and find a way to spend all that money.
Yeah.
And so I think setting your internal thermostat, if you will, to abundance and wealth without unnecessary attachment, it's just a signal that you send out. I think that is ultimately the number one most powerful way that you are going to attract money into your life. It's your state of being first, then it's the
Working on
action,
yourself.
and then it's the things
Yep.
you bring into your life. Be, do, have.
Yep. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, working on yourself. Yeah, that makes okay, yeah, that makes totally sense. Yeah, if I would basically explain a business in like like how to be successful in business, I would say it's literally having a skills and then mindset, like skill set and mindset. All those
Yeah.
two things are basically everything what you need. Right? There are multiple skills, there are also multiple mindset stuff that you have to work on, right? But yeah, I'm totally 100% agree on what you are saying. But I believe also that you have actually, even though maybe it wasn't unaware, but you pick the right skill to learn at the beginning, which is sales.
Of
Because
course.
sales for me is one of the most important skills when it comes to business overall.
Oh yeah.
Of course, there is marketing, there is like other stuff that can make the sale easier.
Yeah.
But if you know how to sell, you know how to raise money. And like that's the basically fundamental of business, right? And making money. Because like
Yeah.
if you cannot communicate properly, you it's impossible, right? And for me, it was literally on the other side. I focused first on marketing because that Russell Brunson stuff, like, hey, like let's do like funnels marketing, but I didn't no clue how to close, how to sell anything like that, right? So, and it took me like 5 years to figure it out.
Yeah.
Literally, that I'm missing stupid sales. Like I have been like, I don't need sales funnels. That's
Yeah.
funnels gotta do the shit. You know what I mean? So crazy, right? So when it comes to when it comes to from what have you learned when it comes to sales, and like how does sales journey look like for you when it comes to like you starting out making first $1,000 basically per week, and then like what was the next steps that you actually took to actually like get super good at sales and like understanding what is actually like the core elements that like literally affect how good you are at sales and so on.
Yeah. So for me, I always operated under the belief that smart people learn from their own mistakes, but the smartest people learn from other people's mistakes. And so what that means is
Mhm.
if I have somebody who's smarter than me, who's been on the journey that I've been on, and I've got them standing over my shoulder and telling me what I'm doing wrong and what I can do more of, that compresses time and that accelerates my results. So that means always having a coach and always surrounding yourself with people who are better than you. So like
Mm.
me, I was always trying to figure out how to put myself in a room with people or with a person who was just where I wanted to be and then beyond that.
Yep.
And by proxy, I would always rise up to that level. And then I'm always, even to this day, I'm always trying to figure out how can I be the least intelligent person in the room? Like, how can I be the dumbest person in the room so that I can absorb the wealth of knowledge and skill from everyone just by proximity? So I think that was one of the things that got me really, really far in a really short period of time. Another thing, if we zoom in a little bit with like selling and sales specifically, and I wish I had learned this earlier, but when you're selling something, whether it's on a sales call or whether you're selling your kids on brushing their teeth or whether you're selling a girl on going on a date with you, there are always two sales that you have to make. This is something I learned from a mentor of mine. two sales. Two sales. It's I don't care what it is you're selling. There's two sales you have to make. First,
Mm-hmm.
you have to sell someone on the concept, and then you have to sell someone on the thing. So what does that mean? That means if I'm selling you, I cannot sell you a Delta Airlines ticket, like a plane ticket, unless you're first sold on what an airplane is.
Mm-hmm.
So it will be impossible for me. It doesn't matter how good my pitch is on the ticket. If you're not sold on the airplane, you're not buying a ticket. So I first have to sell the vehicle before I sell the actual process to use that vehicle. So if you're selling, I don't know, a fitness like a weight loss pill, you first have to sell people on the mechanism. You have to first
Yeah.
sell people that, hey, weight loss doesn't have to be grinding. It doesn't have to be effort. It can be easy if you do it the right way. One of the right ways that we've found is this. So if I
Mm-hmm.
can sell people on the mechanism, I can sell them the product because they've already agreed to this. And just with the human consistency bias and the confirmation bias, we're a lot more likely to agree to this when this has already been agreed to. So that was another huge thing is we have to sell the process before the product.
This is pretty interesting. Okay, I never been thinking this way about sales actually. Very interesting. Very interesting. Because
Yeah.
like when it comes to sales, I love to like the biggest shift that happened when I started studying and like hire coaches and so on, the the biggest thing in sales for me it was that you have to create a desire inside like desire for what the solution that you have to offer.
Yeah.
And the way that you do it is basically creating a contrast. You pulling up because people cannot see it because it's blended together. Basically, like for example, some people are using red dot, blue dot.
Yeah.
Uh, red dot is like current situation. Blue dot is the dream outcome, and that is like completely like crossing like basically blended. You cannot see it. You cannot feel it.
Yeah.
So by asking question, you can spread the gap, right? And when you do so, then you are creating desire. And
Yeah.
also like lots of people when it comes to like presenting depends on probably like what type of offer you use. And I would love to hear your perspective because like because you are all the time in sales and so on. That could be valuable also. Like people are using the framework, I don't know if you heard of it, with heaven with and hell without. And it's
Mm.
like have you heard of that? Like especially in presentation, like it's literally you are showing people. Do you know Aileen Wilder, for example, or Myron Golden?
Of
Do you know
course, I love Myron
okay,
Gold.
okay.
Yeah.
So those guys basically, have you seen any time before like Aileen's Wilder presentation when she's basically like when she's doing like she has the whiteboard behind her and
Hmm.
she's like writing something and then she's hiding and without you even seeing it and then she's
Yes.
selling you on it because
Yes.
literally she's showing like this thing like with this thing it's complete like it completely changed but without it it was completely like I couldn't like my husband had to work super hard and blah blah like
Yeah.
she's doing the contrast she's showing you the contrast with basically and that's just like probably like a concept of like how cell is made. So I just wanted to see your perspective like if what do you think about this type of thing, like is it effective? Do you have like something that you would set with these limiting informations to it or something?
No, I think it's. I mean, I think it's a fantastic tool, and I
Uh-huh.
think it's neither ethical nor unethical.
Uh-huh.
It becomes ethical or unethical depending on the person who's using the tool. So,
Yep.
like it's no different than me. Like if I have this pair of scissors,
Sure.
if I give this to you, you could probably like cut up some paper and make like artwork with it that's really beautiful to look at. But then if I give it to somebody else, they'll take it and like put it through my neck and kill me. So it's the same tool. It's used for different things. So like I think that tool is a fantastic tool if used for obviously ethical purposes.
Sure.
The tool itself, I think, is effective because what you're doing is like you said, you're just creating contrast, and contrast creates desire, and desire creates urgency. So I
Mm-hmm.
can't have urgency without desire, and I can't have desire without contrast. And so that gap is that mechanism is doing that. Also within that mechanism, you're selling someone on the vehicle, you're selling someone on the process, and then your pitch is selling them the product. So you're even doing,
Ooh, I see. Okay.
it's embedded within your discovery process. The
Okay.
whole discovery is sale number one, and sale number two is the pitch. So all these
Mm,
things they're intertwined. They fit together like Lego pieces.
very cool. Okay. How did you get into, like, how did you figure this out? Like, how did you get into this type of framework? Like, how did you like figure it out?
I worked with people that are a lot more intelligent than me. Uh,
Yeah,
I
that's most of us probably.
I do I think I would ever have the capacity to figure this out myself. I had the fortune. I was blessed to be a part of teams where the people running those teams just so happened to be very big names in the space. So I worked with a guy by the name of Chase Hughes, and
Uh-huh.
that alone that's like a whole other conversation by itself when it comes to influence and persuasion. But the guy who runs Chase's team is a guy by the name of Eli Sanchez. And
Uh-huh.
Eli Sanchez, as you know, is also works with Eli Wild. And
Yep.
he also works with a guy, I think you might know him. His name's Myron Golden. And so all these guys are connected. So I had the luxury when I was on Chase's team. Eli ran Chase's sales team. I did sales for Chase for a little bit before I became a coach. That meant for about a year, I was getting free training from Eli Sanchez every single day for free, just being part of the team. So I got to learn a lot of these really advanced concepts for free, just as a consequence of being a part of the right team and in the right environment. And so I would get to drill these things, and I had lots of opportunities to practice them. And it wasn't just sales calls. It was also, how do I apply these principles when I'm speaking to a group? How do I, instead of turning one person into a buyer, how do I turn an audience into a group of buyers? That's a whole other skill, but it rests on the same principles. Two sales, heaven and hell, all those things are the same. They're just deployed a little bit differently with a group. And so that's how I learned. I had a person and multiple people who were just way smarter than me show me how this stuff is done.
Okay. Well, it probably like just becoming this type of person to be able to work with those people had like that already tells something about you, right? Because like you are a go-getter, you are doing the thing, you are basically there is no backup plan, right? You basically just took the leap and make it happen, right? And most of the people who may even listen to this show, they literally like some of them are scared to even start, right? And like start talking to people because like I believe that one of the biggest mindset problems, or how to call it, is that people cares about what other people thinks about them,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
right? How did you get through this type of limiting beliefs? Have you been, you know, have you ever even had this type of issues, like that you had this type of limiting beliefs that stops you from actually going and so on, like and executing? Or have you been like more like, and if yes, I would love to hear how did you deal with them?
Yeah. Um, I don't think that there is a human being on this planet who is immune to those things. I think that is a universal human condition of being afraid of what other people think. And then I think we are born with that wired into us because that is something that helped our ancestors survive. And so
Mm,
that means that all hundreds of thousands of years ago, when we were still in tribes, we had to be very conscientious of how our behaviors affected the tribe, because if we got kicked out of our tribe, if we
yep.
act a certain way, we get kicked out of our tribe, and if we get kicked out, then we're more susceptible to threats, to enemy tribes, to saber-toothed tigers. And so we needed to conform. We had this like group conformity built in, and this like, oh no, what do other people think of me? built into us because that kept your ancestors alive. And
Mm-hmm.
so, with that having been said, just because you're not immune to it, that doesn't mean that you can't work through it and eventually overcome it. So the steps I took to overcoming it, because I absolutely dealt with it, and traces of it still come up from time to time. But number one is to just be aware that it's there. You don't have to judge yourself for it. It's just there. It's just part of being a human. It's there. It's just normalize and neutralize it right there. So yeah, it's there, and it doesn't mean anything about me. It just means it means I'm a human. There's nothing wrong with me. Number two is just because it's there, that that doesn't mean that I have to make a decision from that thing. I don't have to make a decision because of that thing. I get to make a decision, and I have the freedom of making decisions despite that thing. So it's instead of making decisions because of this fear of what other people think, I'm going to make decisions despite the fear of what other people think. And then the third thing is to just this is something that Eli actually taught me. Eli Sanchez. I had a speaking gig one time, and I was filling in for Chase because Chase used to go live every single Friday, called Friday Night Live, and he would have hundreds of people show up to that thing, and he would break down a topic every Friday, and I was filling in for him, so I'm automatically like freaking the fuck out. I'm scared. I'm like, oh no, like I'm representing the brand. Chase has a lot of authority. Chase is a really big name. If I screw up, then that looks bad on Chase. I'm saying all of this to Eli because he was prepping me for the call, and Eli goes, "Dude, who fucking cares, man?" That's all he said. That's all he said. He's like, "Dude, who fucking cares?" And then right there, I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess you're right." He's like, "Dude, people are gonna go home." He's like, "Number one, you're gonna crush it. You're gonna be fine. People will love you." And then he goes, "Whether they love you or hate you, people will eventually move on."
Yeah.
It's like unless you're Jesus Christ, people will move on. You're not that big of a deal. None of us are. The best you can do is to just do the best you can do. And who fucking cares? If people hate it, they hate it. That's on them. And if you don't do that good of a job, that's just more opportunity to work on your skill. And so I think what I took from that is, who cares? Our time on this earth is short. We have a birthday every year. We also pass the anniversary of our death every single year, and we do not even know it. And it could be tomorrow, it could be 80 years from now, and just, who cares? You don't know what's going to happen, so just go out there and do the thing, and who cares what happens? And so that's kind of the mindset that I took on that helps
Yeah.
me get through that. And I think also just expose yourself more. Expose yourself to the things that you normally wouldn't do because of that fear. And the more you expose yourself, the more normalized it becomes, and the more you desensitize yourself to it. So I think that's the advice I would give.
Very cool. Well, when it comes to, are you actually religious, or you don't?
Not religious, very spiritual,
Very
but I don't
spiritual.
practice any religion.
Okay, okay, very interesting. Do you believe in some higher power or something like
Absolutely,
that? Or okay,
100%.
okay. What does it mean to you? Like, why do you, why wouldn't you call it Jesus, or something like that? Why is it like for you some unknown topic, or is it like something that you have never been like really curious about, or is it something like, you know, your family, did they believe in something, or?
Yeah, I never really grew up. We didn't really practice religion in my household,
Mm-hmm.
but we weren't like atheists or anything. We weren't like anti-religion, but we also didn't. We just it was just something when I was growing up. It was just something we didn't really talk about much.
Yeah.
I do remember when I was a kid, there was a period of a couple years where we did go to church every Sunday because I
Right.
grew up in a real small town, and it was one of those like small churches that you see in the movies where like everybody in the town goes to and you know everybody there. It was like one of those things. So we
Yeah.
would do that every Sunday, but it was one of those things where it wasn't like a way of life.
Mm.
It wasn't like our lives revolved around it. It was just something we did. And for me, like I'm 8, I'm like, I just want to get this over with so I can go back to my Game Boy. Like, I don't care about any of this stuff. Like, I just wanna play Pokemon.
Games, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
I just want to go play game. I didn't even want to come here. I
How
wanted to
how
play.
old are you, bro? How old are you?
I'm 34.
34. Okay, that's not too. Yeah, we are not so too far from each other. Okay, really cool.
But yeah, man,
Very
it's
interesting.
yeah, like from there, when I was growing up, there was that period we went to church, but then after that, I just kind of had an open mind. Like I knew that there was something, but I never explored it much.
Yeah.
I'd say over the past, I don't know, 5, 6 years, my interest in spirituality has kind of deepened to the point
Yeah.
where it is now. Where it's like I'm literally a consciousness coach. I get paid to
Uh-huh.
teach people how to raise their level of consciousness. I teach people about spiritual practices and principles.
Yeah.
Like it is a way of life for me now. It's the foundation upon which everything else in my life kind of rests on, but it's not within the confines of a religion or a religious
Yeah.
practice. Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah. Interesting. Like lots of really successful people are actually like really aligned with God. And like I'm pretty interested because like I've been growing up from like in a household where we've been like believing in God, but they don't really understand. And like so I didn't understand either, but I still don't understand completely. I'm super curious about it, and like asking different people for different opinions and like beliefs. So it's really interesting. I don't know like where this going to go exactly, but it's really interesting. Like the whole history and like for example like what is written in Bible.
Yeah.
Like this is so like completely different things that like most people even like
Oh yeah.
it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about all the wars that have been fought and all the blood that's been shed, and
Well, like the things also like when you think about it, most like the biggest like dilemma that there is in the world is basically based on religious, right? Like most of the people fighting each other just because of religious like religion, like literally so crazy to me. Like I don't think that Jesus wanted something like that. And like and I then you're hearing like from Islamic states, like this type like people that um, that everything what is written in Bible basically is completely opposite of what they are taught, like or they read from their books and such. So it's just like completely like anti-Christ and so on. Like I'm like, holy
yeah,
smokes, what is going on there? Like it's pretty interesting. But
yeah.
anyway, I don't know if you want to share something around that, your thoughts or something. But
Well,
I know, yeah,
I think it goes deeper than just religion. I think it's about religion, yes, but I think religion is the surface layer. It's not the cause. I think it's a symptom. The actual cause of this stuff,
hmm,
of all these wars, and like
yeah,
we've mankind has been at war 93% of the time that we've even been on the planet. I think it all comes down to just ego. It's
hmm,
the human ego that has been at
yeah,
war. And so if the ego did not exist, then there would be no reason to have a war over something like religion. You know what I mean?
hmm,
Like over, and that's what
hmm,
Christ taught. Like in the 3 years that Jesus was teaching his
yeah,
disciples, he taught, love one another, love thy
yeah,
neighbor, do good, golden
yeah,
rule, that kind of
yeah,
thing. Love each other, forgive each other.
yeah,
There's no ego whatsoever. Like don't give into the small self. Your larger self is your true nature, and that's the forgiving and the loving part of you. And so if you fall back into the larger self, that is ultimately what God is God is love. It's love, and
yeah,
we are just little essences of that source. And
yeah,
that's all he taught. And that's all the major religions, they all teach that same thing, just from different angles.
yeah,
Then
hmm,
what happens is the ego, somebody who is not as developed as Christ, somebody who doesn't have Christ consciousness, gets a hold of those words that Jesus says, and they read and understand those words through the filter of the ego, and it gets twisted. And then
yeah,
2,000 years of playing the game telephone, you get war and you get bloodshed and you get what
yeah,
you have today. You get the politics of it. And so it's not I think the teaching itself If you just stripped away everything and just kept the teachings, that is a whole other thing. That's the teachings are pure. It's the impurity is what we've added to it with our own ego and our own pride.
Mhm.
That's where the war comes from, I think.
Yeah, yeah. Why do people do this? Have you been thinking about it? Like, why they doing this type of things when it comes to like putting ego like in front of actually what like the love or something? Like, why is that? Do you think it's because of like they been in pain before, or like something that they like? I don't, it's really interesting. Like, why that even happen?
The answer to that might sound a little, it might sound a little controversial, but
Hmm.
people don't do it for a specific reason. People don't even realize that they are doing it because the ego runs on kind of its own automatic programs. And so
Yeah.
the ego's core of survival is to be right. And
Yep.
anything that threatens the ego, or anything that threatens you in the sense of like, oh no, I there's a chance I could be wrong, the ego kicks in and it will do anything it can to justify its position and to be right, even if it means killing someone else. People will kill another person just to feel right, but it's
That's
not really,
crazy.
not the true essence of the person doing that. It is just the ego. It is the ego that has a hold of the steering wheel. The ego is its own little program, and
Yeah.
the ego just wants to be right. And so if it feels wrong, it will go and seek revenge and justify itself. And so that's,
Yeah.
people don't realize that they do it. It's just kind of this, like, if you think about ego as not like each individual person has an individual ego, but it's like
Yeah.
there's one kind of collective ego organism that's localized through different people, and
Hmm.
it's this ego organism that's just acting through people, just the same way that kind
Hmm.
of like consciousness is an infinite field acting through us. Ego is that small little part of us that's kind of like, it's like a collective. Carl Jung called it the collective unconscious, and so
Huh.
that's what it is. That's all
Yeah.
it is.
I've been reading uh, a blog post or something like recently. There was a literally like how like what is the like what most people die like what type of species kills most of the people
Hmm.
like in a per year every year. Do you
Yeah,
know what was the first one?
human beings.
No, okay, it was second actually. First one was freaking mosquitoes.
Hey,
Yeah,
wow,
750,000. And then second was human beings,
wow,
650,000 people
wow.
per
Per
year.
year.
And I was like, holy shit. Okay, like I get it. Like mosquitoes when it comes to like there are different type of like sicknesses in around the world like yeah, that makes sense. But when it comes to like humans, like people killing them like each other for this type of I don't even know how to describe this. This is insanity to me. Like like we as a human, like we are the most intelligent like species on the planet, and we have to kill each other. Like I don't get this type of thing because some people has different opinions, different beliefs. They don't like they like it's just really insane. Like to
It's
me.
insane. It's insane to people like you and to people like me and to most people that operate kind of like on a normal level. It's insane. But if you think about people who actually kill each other, in their paradigm, in their worldview, killing is a completely normal and justified thing that they don't think twice about. They don't question the morality of it. They don't question the absurdity of it. And if they do, it's not to the degree that they would stop doing it. It's just something they do. So it's like everything is going to mean something different at a different level. And so like people like you and me might believe something, but then if you take somebody like who's enlightened, like
Yeah.
Buddha or Christ,
Hmm.
who's up here with Christ consciousness, something that is normal to us may not even exist up here. It like
Yeah.
the reality is
Yeah.
totally different up here. And so each level has its own paradigm. It has its own perspective. It has its
Yeah.
own lens, if you will.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, yeah, yeah. Okay, now I would love to know, like, where did you get this type of like, this? How, how do you figure out like those type of lenses, like that you like use in it for explanation? Have you like, is it somewhere from like human psychology that you studied, or is it this like from sales or some like where did that come from actually?
It came from this thing called the Map of Consciousness
Okay.
by David Hawkins. I'm not sure if
Uh-huh.
you've seen this or if you're
Yeah.
familiar with this,
No,
but
I
it's
haven't seen this before. No, no,
in
never.
short. The short version is
Mm-hmm.
every level on this map. You can't really see because there's a blur, but
Yep.
every level on this map is it's a scale of emotions. At the bottom you have shame. At the top you have enlightenment, and then it's the stairway of everything in between. And so what it represents is a numerical scale. This guy, David Hawkins, he was a psychiatrist. He spent 20 years as a psychiatrist working with thousands of patients, and he figured out that there is a kind of like a linear scale to the emotions that we can experience in like our dominant emotional states. They have kind of like a level of power, if you will. Some emotional states have more power than others, some emotional states have less. This guy figured out a way to kind of calibrate exactly the relative power that each level has compared to the own, and he created this map. And so, for example, pride calibrates at 175. Pride has less power than courage, which calibrates at 200. And then you have something like
Hmm. Okay.
reason, which is the intellect, that's the mind, that calibrates at 400, very powerful, but it doesn't calibrate as high as love. Love is right above reason, it calibrates 500. And so these levels, I like to see them as lenses. So
Uh-huh.
if I'm talking to somebody who calibrates in, let's look at the lower ones. Like on the bottom of the map, you have fear. Fear
Yep.
calibrates at 100. It's very low. If I'm talking to somebody who calibrates in fear, they've got fear goggles on, and so their predominant worldview is anxiety and just things that make them fearful. Whereas if I myself am in, let's just say, acceptance,
Yep.
acceptance is really high on the map. My goggles are, I'm seeing the world through the lens of I accept things the way they are. I can't control the things I can't control, and I accept everything that comes my way with grace. I take full responsibility and full ownership for my results. That is a different set of goggles than someone at fear. So I like to see each of these levels on the map as different lenses until the very top is enlightenment. Enlightenment is taking off the glasses and seeing the actual there is no lens. You're just seeing the pure, unfiltered reality. But that's like a handful of people in history have ever gone there. So it's one of those things where you cross that bridge when you get there. But
How
that's
did
kind of
how did you came across with this? Like this is like I've never heard of that. This is pretty insane actually. Like this is pretty cool. I love it.
Yeah, so I had this friend about a year ago, last June. His name is John, and he recommended a book called it's right here on my shelf actually. I'll show you.
Oh good. Yep.
Recommended he recommended this book called Letting Go:
Uh-huh.
The Pathway of Surrender. And it's by David Hawkins, the guy who
Uh-huh.
created this. And I had never read this book. He recommended it in pass. It was just like a very nonchalant, like, oh, by the way, I'm reading this. And then that was it. That was it. And out of curiosity, after that conversation with him, I went on Amazon. I looked up the book, $10. I got the book. I started reading the book. And I've read a lot of books in my life. I'm sure you've read a lot of books in your life. You're a smart guy. And what has never happened to me ever was getting to the end of a book and then going right back immediately and reading it a second time back to back. That's what I did with this. This is the
Okay.
only book in my life where I read it the first time, and it was such a profound shift, and the timing was impeccable, and everything just lined up perfectly.
Yep.
I went back and I read it again and again and again and again and again, and I just started adopting the principles of this book into my life. And part of the book is him referencing this map, and he references it in every single book of his. He has like 10 books. And so then I started studying this map and going really deep into it. And he has a book called The Map of Consciousness Explained, like for
Yep.
dummies. And so I started reading that and just doing a deep dive on like the levels and the statistical likelihood of reaching certain levels and how many humans statistically reach, certain levels compared to
Yeah.
another. And the fact that 80% of the population lives below the level of courage, and only a small portion of people live from courage and above, and all that stuff. And so I kind of got obsessive with it. I still am, and it's kind of the core of how I kind of live my life. This itself is
Yeah.
the lens. My friend who recommended the book has recently passed away, and
Wow.
yeah, he was 32 years old, he had kidney cancer, and he passed away just this February. And I think for me, it's become a way of life, but it's also kind of become a way of honoring my friend who gave me this gift. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
it has kind of a little sentimentalism in there as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you have like your own family already? Like, do you have kids?
Not yet. We're trying, but we don't have hostages yet.
Well, that's awesome. Like, kids are awesome. I don't have it, and I'm like, yeah, like it's getting closer to the time, but like, yeah, let's see what's gonna be happening.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, this was amazing. Before we wrap up, I would love to ask you also, like, when it comes to the things that you do right now, like how does your vision to what you do, like when it comes to your business and your future, like personal stuff, also like how does it look like for you, where you are heading?
For me, all I care about now is helping other people. Like, if we use this as a reference, I want to help as many people up the scale of this map and to live in the highest possible state that they can. Because what that does is it has an effect on the field and it raises other people up too, even if they don't realize it. And so
Yeah.
the more people that I can help kind of ascend in the, in consciousness, if you will,
Yeah.
the more people collectively will ascend. So if I can do that, then this sounds really lofty, but it has. I think it's one of the greatest contributions that you can make to mankind is to ascend yourself and to help others ascend.
I love it.
That's,
Yeah.
that's the goal.
The impact is huge, right?
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. I'm curious, what are you scared the most actually? Like when it comes to your success in your life.
Hmm.
What are you scared the most, if that's like something that you're willing to share?
What am I scared of the most?
Like when it comes to like with everything what you have right now and what you are doing, and like if you wouldn't accomplish that thing in your life, for example, for example, for me it's like if I wouldn't, like if there is like post life and I can see, for example, meet myself the way that I could look like, or like accomplish or all the skills that I could acquire once I die, and I'm not going to be as close as the person that I could become.
Hmm.
That's going to, like, this is what I'm scared the most of. Like, this is what is like, of course, there is the impact and like the money and all of that, but like this is the biggest thing for example for me. Like, what is your thing? Like, what is the thing that you would be scared the most?
For me, it used to be the same exact thing. I used to be
Okay.
scared of living a life that was anything less than 100% of my fullest potential.
Yeah.
And I got to a point, and I mean, that's a valid fear up into a point. And I got to this point where I realized that fear, number one, is 100% in my control.
Yeah.
Usually when we're afraid of something, fear usually points to something that we can't control. So like when you're a kid and you see a dark shape in the corner of your room and you think it's the boogeyman, that's fear, because like, oh no, there's a monster coming to get me. I can't do anything about it. That is fear.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I have a fear of not doing everything to the 100%, I'm like, wait, I have 100% autonomy and control over that. So there's no reason for that fear to be even valid. It's not even a valid fear for me. So right now, um, this is going to sound so egotistical and narcissistic, but I mean this in the most pure sense possible. But right now, I don't have any fears that are driving me. And it's not because, oh, look at me, big tough guy, no fear. It has nothing to do with that. I experience sensations of fear. Absolutely. I experience fear, but I don't act from fear or let that fear drive me.
Yeah.
So I have no space in my reality for fear, and if fear does come up, I allow it to run its course and to just be let go of. So that way I can make clear decisions without fear ever having to be part of the equation at all. And so right now there is no fear, there is only love and passion for what I do, and those are much more powerful emotional drivers than fear. So that's my experience. That's my take on it. But yeah, I would say
And
that's
from
what it is.
yeah, and from the personal side, what is the goal that you are going towards?
Just having a kid, man. My wife and I we've been trying for 2 years,
Yeah,
and it's just it's just having faith and
fingers crossed.
fingers crossed, and it's just taking it a day at a time, and it's just it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when, and so just having a kid, becoming a dad. I think that's my next personal goal. And I think, like, dude, fuck business, fuck money. It's like the only thing really seriously, it's like when I get to my deathbed and I'm looking back at my life, I'm not going to be thinking about business and money. I'm going to be thinking about the times that I spend with my children and my family and the memories I create with them. Like, that's the most important thing. The business can be built around that, but like that's the core. And so for me personally, that's the goal. That's the goal. It's just to start a family.
Yeah, I love it. All right. Well, thank you so much, brother. That was amazing. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Thanks.
Three rapid fire questions before we wrap up. First one is a book that, well, you probably like that would be the one book that changed your life, or like, yeah, perfect. Let it go. Love it.
Yeah.
Second question would be, if there is one advice that you would delete from the internet, what that would be?
In order to become more or to achieve more, you have to do more. I wish I could erase that from existence. You don't have to
Yeah,
do more to have more. You just have to change your state of being, and you can have anything you
becoming
want.
more.
Yes.
Yeah, love it. And if that would be your last interview you've ever done, what would be the message that you would love to leave behind you?
If this was the last interview that I ever did, what's the message I want to leave behind? Who fucking cares? Just do the thing.
I love it. Yeah, this is 100%. People care so much about other people's opinion and all, like, holy shit, yeah. It's so bad. Anyway, thank you so much. It was amazing. Pleasure to have you. Where people can find you to connect with you.
Yeah, people can find me on Facebook. It's Camron without the E. You can see my name right there. Camron without the E, W Sayyah. Camron W Sayyah. Find me on Facebook. Happy to connect.
Love it. And for everybody who's listening, we will see you in the next episode. Bye for now.
Yes, sir.